you? I don't think so.
They don't seem trustworthy, to be honest.
No, he just ate you again.
Can we?
Yeah. No. Really
So
funny pro tip that happened as we were playing one of our games. The enemy team tried to gank someone that was running solo, and what they did is they engaged the boss, making the boss swallow them, and the enemy team couldn't kill him because they were inside, and that gave their team enough time to get there and then re-engage and then win the team fight.
All right, Power, he just kills me.
Here,
what was that heal?
Number 2 Genji
What was
now.
that heal?
That heal?
That heal.
Lucio was, yeah, I think he was AFK.
Yeah, but what about you?
What about me? I'm a panda. Panda life.
I don't know.
I'm a little panda, short and stout.
Oh, hi, new friend. I am Brightwing. Do you know about fairy dragons? Well, we like happy things, like nature and making new friends. Ooh, and snack time. When playing with friends, the fun never ends. Hey, come back.
What do we have here? Let's get this promo tour started. Oh yeah, Lucio in the house. Oh, let's break it down.
The Duck Brawl continues as we get ready for game number 3. The playing Ducks and Fnatic facing off. Fnatic ahead with a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, Fnatic is looking very strong right now. They play very crisp games, they control everything, and they also don't have a problem playing against the global of their opponent. They understand the strength, they understand the risk of losing members, so they always play it safe. Yeah, very cool games from them.
I just want to say, whenever Breeze has ETC, the success of Fnatic seems to spike up heavily. They look more coordinated. That ETC play is always beautiful to see.
That kid is insane on ETC. It's absolutely crazy. There's a good reason why ETC for the longest time was really one of the first bans against Fnatic. And right now he still feels very comfortable on him, especially with that Arthur's combo. And that puts now the playing Ducks in a really awkward spot because they've been targeting Greymane with the bans, but now they have to also look at this and say like, hey guys, this Arthur's and ETC, this is really giving us trouble here at the front.
Yeah, it's kind of doing work on that front line. We'll find out if the playing Ducks will ban out ETC or continue letting them through. The battleground we are going to for game number 3, Battlefield of Eternity. Fnatic mentioned yesterday in their interview that they've been enjoying more and more BOE.
Yeah, they play the map now a lot more, and this also, again, brings us back to Greymane, because if you banned him out before, then you have to either pick him up early or ban him here, since he gets extra value against the objective on this map. So for the Ducks, this is an interesting situation now. Do they pick Greymane early, or do they just simply say, okay, listen up, we're going to ban him out again?
I say you pick up the Greymane. First off, Chris can play Greymane just fine. He's done it before in the past. They put him more on Vala, Tychus, Jaina, but they have had a couple of Greymane games in the HGC.
I think one of the thought processes for them earlier was also to just ban out globals. That's something that they prioritized, and the globals still played a role when they banned Greymane. So they just said, hey, we ban out Greymane, we counter-ban Quacknix, but we ourselves focus on the globals a bit more. On this map, you don't necessarily have to do this, so I think they are going to aim for an early pick on Greymane instead.
Okay, let's find out if that will be the chance here for the playing Ducks to get that Greymane in their arsenal. So over to the first ban, this is the moment of truth. Do you take away the Greymane, or do you even move out any other type of options that are available in this battleground?
They could definitely focus a tank at this point and then simply pick Greymane themselves, or they can play around, of course, supports again, as we've seen for various. The Arthur's ban, it's going to be a Greymane first pick, or very likely. I like that. That's a very good adjustment right now.
Yeah, especially with it being an Arthas ban, you just know that, okay, if they're going to take Arthas away, if we have Greymane on our side, it makes it much harder. So this should be a Greymane pickup just based on how this looks at the draft. If it wasn't going to be a Greymane pick, I wouldn't have minded an ETC ban instead, and then you play something else more poke-oriented.
Yeah, the thing is, I feel personally that banning out Arthas over the ETC makes a whole lot of sense. Breeze can shine so much because he has the Arthas at his side, so this is a bit on the soft ban on the strategy that we were playing earlier. Greymane is picked early. This is exactly what we said after the second game. You have to somehow deal with that ETC Arthas combo, but you still are worried about the Greymane. Globals are not having the same impact on this map as they do on others, so playing Ducks are completely happy to say, you know what, let the Globals just be there for now, and we are going and ban out a tank and pick the Greymane ourselves.
So Fnatic on their side usually go in for a tank at this point, something engage-oriented. Sometimes I would even recommend a variant here, but ETC has been able to pick up so far for Fnatic. It could work out, and then you take away support that you don't want to be on the other side. Lucio could be great here with ETC as a pickup for Fnatic. There are also other choices, maybe a Vala early pick.
I'm personally also looking towards Medivh again, since we have playing Ducks with a high priority on Medivh in general, and this is one of the maps where they really play Medivh, I think, in nearly every single game that I've seen from them just recently. So that is something that at least is a thought process for Fnatic now, that they think, hey, do we give them Medivh? Are we okay with that? Are we personally trying to pick that away at some point? Are we going to aim for a ban? And they decide that first of all, they go into Vala. Same play as with Greymane, massive, massive value against the objective. That's why Vala is so highly prioritized here. It's definitely a battleground thing.
Now, Nubrak being picked up, gives them the engage they want. Also, a Nubrak's been banned in every single one of these phases so far at the second phase of the ban. So getting a Nubrak now gives them the chance to actually grab that hero.
It also shuts down one of the combos that Greymane is usually aiming for. If you have a Greymane and you can use a Li Ming as well, then you are trying to get these resets. You jump in with the Greymane, you get the resets for especially Li Ming so that she can go in for more damage. It's something Fnatic played on the first map, so a Nubarak is already a bit of a statement. We dare you. Pick Li Ming, we have a Nubarak right now, and we are going to come for you.
And on top of that, it's a pseudo kind of counter pick to Medivh. Better barbs around the portal, another tool to actually control those portals that come your way. So now the playing Ducks thinking about what they want to move into. Typically it's been one of their supports, and Medivh in the pickup, they want to grab it now. So we'll see if Ducks will be moving into that.
Yeah, that's definitely the one thing to watch out for now. What is Sport really going to play? We know that Chris is going to be most likely on the Greymane. Well, now there's the Li Ming regardless of the Nubarak. So they are actually just dropping it. They're saying, we don't care, you have a Nubarak, that's fine, but we still want to have the Greymane and Li Ming combo.
The Ducks are going in.
Yeah, the Ducks are going in.
They're ready for some plays here. So Medivh gets banned out, so Fnatic will not even give that as an option. I do wonder if you go Greymane, Li Ming, Medivh, and a tank, is that something that you actually want to run on BOE? Seems like you could run over your opponents, but Fnatic doesn't even want to deal with it.
This is a risk assessment. This is them thinking about what Sport really did in the past on the hero. The ley lines have been great, and also a Greymane that gets empowered by the force of will is really difficult to deal with. So I wouldn't really put it past the playing Ducks to play that comp. So Fnatic just says, okay, this is the one thing we're worried about. Let's get that out of the way. Everything else we can deal with. We're fine. If they want to prioritize something else from here on out, that's okay for us.
So suddenly you start thinking about what can Sport Billy actually play here on the mix-up. It's probably going to be the Greymane, but do you grab a Zarya here? We have seen Nande on Greymane a couple of times in the last few weeks.
I mean, you can complement that with a Zarya and an extra tank if you really want to. There's definitely a lot of poke potential that you have with that. A double front line would also work, having two melees. There's a few options that it's just preference picks at this point. There's also a bit of the question what exactly Fnatic is now going to do with the next two picks, and playing Ducks can react to that. First of all, the Ducks are getting rid of Falstad and not want to deal with that Gust here.
The Gust, also Falstad is one of those heroes that actually does pretty well against the Immortal phase. I used to criticize this pretty heavily, picking Falstad on this battleground, but you get the second lane soak, so you can kind of pressure your opponent to going into for engage. You can fly in, but also he brings out pretty decent damage. You drop down your W, the Q, and you auto-attack it. So Falstad makes sense in terms of bans if you're wanting to race your opponent.
Oh, it's also when you still play Gathering Storm, Falstad was actually pretty decent on the map because that burst damage that you could execute against the Immortal. You have a lot of standoffs in the middle, so if you are playing Gathering Storm on the Boomerang, then later on you can just like get stacks all the time in the middle, and that's something that a lot of teams have been done. These days we see more the focus, as mentioned before, on Seasoned Marksman and the combo with Giant Killer. Yeah. But Falstad can definitely give you value, and Gust is such an amazing tool.
Always a great tool. Now, Fnatic over here on the left, we're looking for them to get support. They pick up the Lucio, so they get their rotations in, and we have the ETC back out again.
ETC is still being played together with the Nubarak. Lucio, of course, on this map is cool for these long and drawn-out standoffs. This is really where he can absolutely shine. Fnatic still have an opportunity with the last pick to make more damage happen for themselves. With ETC and Nubarak, they have a lot of stuns and control that they can use against the playing Ducks. And of course, we have once again Breeze on the ETC. Fnatic is very happy with this.
Yeah, they're super happy with their draft so far. Lucio going to be wall riding all over the place. Now, over to the Ducks here, I think you're wanting to grab Zarya. I really think Zarya just mixes in really well with this. You get the explosion zone, helps with the mosh pit, control around the corridors. It just works so well with the playing Ducks in terms of being comfortable. Also, you can help out that Grey Mane for the dives. And, of course, we get a final pickup for the tanks. Now, Johanna can be okay here against Fala, but I wouldn't mind seeing more variant from Crisplosion.
A variant combo is definitely something that they could use here. I feel the Muradin didn't work out for them at all in the last map, so I'm not quite sure if that would be an option. Oftentimes it was argued that Muradin, if you go for your level 4 talent, can really put the extra pressure on this. Don't really think that's the best call. But they go instead into the Johanna, so it helps a bit with the blinds against the opponent's setup when they're attempting to go for a rush against the Immortal. And the Haka on top of that for wave clear, and also a bit of global addition to that. Could have made a play here with Varian, I completely agree with that, but let's see what Fnatic is going to pick here to round their own draft out.
They have Val, Lucio, a Nubrak ETC. Maybe a bit more damage could be good for them. Anyone in particular standing out for you here?
Not quite. I mean, we have seen them earlier with Gul'dan for poke. Most likely Shrimpy is still looking for a hero here, so that's one of the options that they have. Picking Gul'dan, trying to use that to just get that poke and also that Horrify in again, which can especially be dangerous for Grey Mane. When he goes in deep and Gul'dan reacts fast, they can try and drop him.
Part of me kind of wants a Valeera. I know that there's a scouting draw possibility for Malfurion and Johanna can reveal there. I just feel like if you can get pressure on that back line, you can slow down Grey Mane and Li Ming in terms of rushing. And I know Shwimpy plays a pretty mean Valeera, but there is going to be Sylvanas.
With Sylvanas, you usually really make it a statement that you feel you're stronger than your opponent, that you are able to win the Immortal, and that you can just... First of all, it gives you race power, of course, especially after level 7. Once you hit the barb shot, you can make sure that you get extra pressure in against the Immortal. You have a Vala that is very good at racing as well, and then you attempt to snowball it with the help of Sylvanas.
Yeah.
But Sylvanas sometimes falls a bit short in the actual team fight, and this is more or less a statement where you say, okay, we are stronger than you, we are going to take that Immortal, and we are going to crush this. If you think about how the last 2 maps went, we had the first one, Cursed Hollow, was very dominant by Fnatic. Then on the second map, one strong Punisher towards the end led Fnatic to a more or less flawless victory here. So this could be a very, very short game if Fnatic gets exactly the early game that we've seen in the last 2 maps.
On the other side, if you think it's not, if you don't even think about the teams being here and the matchups that we've seen the last couple times, if you look at the playing Ducks, I actually kind of like their race and their poke. I also like that Johanna can go over and fiddle around with the opposing team, drop some blinds, condemn, just be annoying while the Immortals get raced down. But yes, with it being Fnatic and the playing Ducks, Fnatic has been so strong today and been so on point that it's hard not to root for them.
Yeah, the thing is that I am not quite sure how much I like the Dehaka in this comp. It's really difficult to say that Dehaka isn't a good pick because he always gives you a lot of value one way or the other. But with that comp here and what Fnatic is playing, I'm not quite sure if Dehaka is really going to have that impact that they are looking for here. So it's going to be interesting for me to see if he gets that burrow in where he can get a good drag and that results in a kill. For now, I think that Fnatic, with those comfort picks that they have right now, is still having the edge.
Well, let's move into it. Game number 3. This is a best-of-5 series. Fnatic has a chance to clear out the series with a 3-0. Can they do it against the Ducks?
We find ourselves on Battlefield of Eternity as Fnatic is starting up to the left side of the map once again. Shwimpy this time is playing the Vala now that we have Sylvanas drafted. Quacknix is currently playing her. Breeze on ETC. That shouldn't be surprising to anybody out there. Wooby on Nuburag, and Smexy is dropping the beats on Lucio.
On the right side, the playing Ducks in the red fighting to continue in the series. Grey Mane will be played by Sport Billy. Nande will be on Dehaka. Chris on Li Ming. Wolf Joe on Malfurion. And Chris Blosian on his trademark Johanna.
On the Johanna right now, once again. And yeah, let's see how much Nande can do with the Dehaka this time. The last time here, that's on Infernal Shrines, a pretty great job just making sure that the lanes were always pushed out, that there was pressure towards the forts and keeps of Fnatic that forced them several times back during crucial moments. But Fnatic dealt with that situation very nicely. Now they themselves have a fair amount of pushing power against the Immortal, and it's all going to be about the objective here with the Sylvanas in your midst.
Sport Billy on the left side going in for engages, goes for the swipe, is on Quacknix. Quacknix steps forward though, doesn't mind trading here against a Grey Mane, which is something that's not usually advised. However, he will be able to get away.
At some point, you could really see that Quacknix was just simply saying, like, wait a second, if you're going this deep, then you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
And think about this, who plays the Grey Mane for Fnatic? It is Quacknix, so he knows exactly where the limits of Grey Mane are.
Yeah, after you miss that first swipe and then engage, that's a good portion of your damage not available. It's all about auto attack. So if you kite correctly, technically Sylvanas could start to win out that trade. Eventually Greymane got there, and with Chris showing up on that Johanna, he did back up. But yes, that'll be a fun matchup to watch.
It definitely is, since it's one of the priorities. I mean, the two targets that we are seeing here for Greymane are mainly Sylvanas and also Vala. Of course, if you can get close enough to Lucio, you would also take that kill, but the damage dealers are going to be a higher priority here for the playing Ducks. And seeing that battle between the two Greymane players here, that's going to be pretty awesome.
See how that shakes out. As our 4-man rotations here on the bottom, but with the Immortal spawning, we have 10 seconds. Now, Fnatic's in a spot right now where they're clearing out the wave and they're getting aggressive on their positioning. They want to make playing Ducks go all the way around the right side to get closer to their Immortal, which opens up Fnatic to do two things. They either A, can jump on their Immortal for defense, or grab a turret here based on the movement with Sylvanas.
And Ether Walk has been taken by Liming now, so we have a bit more mobility for Chris on level 1. And Quagnix, in this case, is seeming to have a few issues here. So our apologies that we had a couple of issues here already today. As far as I know, there was a bit of a TeamSpeak problem a bit earlier when the communication or on the voice channel wasn't really on point for playing Ducks. We hope that this is going to be resolved pretty soon. It's still pretty early in the game. As you can see, the Immortal just spawned, so we're just now getting into the match.
Yep, technical difficulties or a tactical pause. They could be talking about the level 4 talents. What do we pick up here, boys and girls? That could be the thing. You know, communication is great between teammates.
Codename 323.
Yeah, codename 323.
I didn't see a lag anywhere, so nobody died yet.
I think Miwa's currently still sleeping in right now, so we're pretty good in that regard. So we'll be right back into the match as soon as possible. Again, we've been talking about the race. In terms of actual race, for the most part, playing Ducks are in a good spot. Greymane and Liming, wonderful for burning those down. So Fnatic will have to be aggressive, but if today is any indicator, their aggression and their coordination should be enough to keep the playing Ducks at bay.
Yeah, and they themselves have also a fair amount of damage against the Immortal. It's going to spike later, though. That's the important part to note here. Because you're having an arrow build on Vala, and with the arrow build, you want to have your level 4 so you can get the stacks going for the extra damage. You also want to have the level 7 for the double arrow, and you want to have the Barb Shot on Sylvanas. So Fnatic's time to shine when it comes to Immortal pressure is really after 7. So this early in the game, they have to be a bit cautious about, as you said, the Greymane just chunking those hit points down and need to make sure that they don't give the playing Ducks an opportunity to win these.
On the other side, there is some chunking possibilities for Fnatic. They are going the Q build, which the Q build, this is one of the battlegrounds that you can pull it off a lot on. In fact, we see it in more and more mix-ups. But let's go ahead and jump into the map here. Game number 3 is ready to continue here. Back onto the Q build. It's something that a lot of players are playing more often, even on battlegrounds that aren't BOE.
As long as you have objectives that are not on lanes or around minions, Q build gives you a lot of versatility and a lot of damage output after you get the stacking process completed. I actually enjoyed a bit more myself. I was not really the biggest fan of the Q build for the longest time, still acknowledging that it's strong, but I didn't really like it too much. Lately I find myself also playing a lot more on other maps, so it is actually very impactful, especially when you have these drawn-out team fights that come also on the double support stuff.
Surprisingly, the playing Ducks don't even get on their Immortal, and they are out-rotated by Fnatic. Fnatic takes the first lead here. There is going to be a big power line here for Breeze. They'll save his teammate. The playing Ducks are forced to position around their Immortal, which allows for Fnatic to set up either A, a concave, or B, to go soak into different lanes. And Sylvanas runs to the bottom lane to start moving towards 4.
Yeah, this is an atrocious position for the Ducks to be in. That low in the Immortal, they can't leave it alone for a second or it's going to be chunked down, and that's what's happening right now. Smexy needs to be careful, is able to get away, but Sport Billy is already on his heels, is not able to confirm the kill though. Smexy moving in again, helping out his teammates as Breeze is also suffering. Nice zoning from the Ducks. The early level 4 talent was helping them with that. But now Fnatic is moving in again, and they only need a bit of damage against the Immortal to make the first one happen. And keep in mind, they are pushing with Sylvanas.
Yep, Fnatic is aware that Greymane was on the other Immortal, so we see a big impale from Wubby. Breeze comes in from the side with a big loop around. Quacknix is on the bottom left, but Smexy's there for a boop. So that means the playing Ducks will be forced to retreat at some point. They just need to get some damage on their Immortal before Fnatic finishes up.
It was a great kill against Malfurion, really well done. And now we have not only a 1-0 in the kill count, but also an Immortal with a lot of shields on top of that. Sylvanas is going to have a fun time. It's of course an early game Immortal, so it shouldn't really do too much damage yet, but Fnatic is already on the job. They are immediately moving in on the lane. The Ducks haven't even rotated up to the top, so they can't stop this early aggression against the gates.
Yep, Sylvanas can go full Robin Hood here with her bow and arrow and rob the fort of health with the Immortal pushing in, chasing down this back line. Playing Ducks is all pushed in the back right, but here it is, the trait going into full action for Quacknix.
Yeah, but with Sylvanas being Robin Hood, who's the sheriff in the house, it seems it's Greymane. He's trying to jump on her, but Nande is now moving in as well. Quacknix is low. Nice move on the side of Smexy, saving Sylvanas. Was good zoning from the Ducks to make sure that the Immortal doesn't get too much value here, but as I say that, there's the kill against Nande on his Dehaka, and it also eliminates the fort. Fnatic getting a massive value out of the first Immortal.
Yeah, big fort taken down, moving towards 7 already. Flubby is being aggressive on the right side. He drops a bed of barbs on the right to make sure that he can slow down Playing Ducks' rotation, and Fnatic takes full opportunity of the engage. They push down the bottom right, and they grab a couple of towers. They now have a level 7 right around the corner.
This is getting tricky. The snowball effect is absolutely brutal if it happens on this map. And now that level 7 has been reached, Fnatic finds themselves into a situation where they can even drop the Immortal hit points faster than before. And we already saw during the first Immortal how much pressure they have against it. So the Ducks are in a very awkward spot. They still are going to be able to fight on even talents, or at least they should be. So we have to find out how much of a play they can make with the next Immortal, because that could decide, not necessarily the outcome of the game yet, but it could give Fnatic, if played correctly, a massive lead that is very hard or difficult to recover from.
Yeah, it puts Playing Ducks in a spot where they have a hard time bouncing back. You have constant pressure from Sylvanas, you have a Vola on the left side that's finishing your Q talent, and you have Breeze on the ETC that's going to get the engages, which makes it very hard for the Playing Ducks to make a play. They're going to make one now. Nande, the fun please, comes in from the side here to drop down a drag, but the instant power sight from Breeze stops the Hawk from being efficient. However, Quacknix low on health. There we go. The Playing Ducks get a takedown.
Nice. Well done by both sides. It was great dodge that we saw from Quacknix against the Tongue of Dehaka, but then Malfurion comes in with a big root, and that finally confirmed the kill against Sylvanas. So that was a cool move by the Ducks. Quacknix showing his skills there for a moment as well, but then in the end he didn't have any options left. The death timers are still low enough that he is going to be able to join the rest of his team for the next Immortal, but that was definitely a good play by the Ducks here, and that helps them to catch up in experience.
Yep, it certainly does. It also gives them time to open up that top lane as they push in with their mercenary camps. Dehaka will be able to aid that. Now it's all about the Immortal phase. How will our teams affect this? So we already have Vola and Sylvanas on the bottom Immortal. Playing Ducks are late to the party, so they're going to spend some time to burn down their own, but it's too late here as halftime show hits.
Yeah, this is the power of having the double arrow on Vala and also the barb shot. So well done by Fnatic, but this is going to be where the fight is, again, leaning in towards the team fight. So let's see what they can do with this one. Can they this time get that early kill again that they got during the last fight and then translate that into another Immortal? Dehaka is aiming for experience up to the top. The bot lane is pushed heavily, and this is actually really important to note that we have a push against against the Playing Ducks here. Dehaka trying to come in from the side. That didn't really work out. The Ducks are on the clock now.
God, the teamwork is just so good for Fnatic right now. Vola was able to vault over. We're going to have Chris Explosion taking damage, Li Ming poking on the side.
That was really well done, pushing him into the stun circle of the Immortal. That was them identifying an opportunity, using it immediately, and it confirmed the kill against Johanna. Great play here on the side of Fnatic. That was well done. The Ducks now down 2 heroes. This Immortal goes over to Fnatic. At the bot lane, the camp has been cleared by the fort, but it suffered a lot and nearly lost all of the hit points and actually all of the shots.
Caldor, this could be devastating for the Playing Ducks. The fort going down equals level 10 for Fnatic. They have heroic powers and Sylvanas and a massive Immortal pushing in the bottom lane. The story does not get worse if you're a Duck fan.
Yeah, I said it during the draft. This could be a fast one. If Fnatic gets the good early game, they got on Cursed Hollow and Infernal Shrines, they will be able to pressure them so hard that this could be a very fast game. And right now, this is exactly what it looks like. The level 10 that you talked about, the Immortal pushing in, still early in the game, only 8 minutes in, but they open up the wall, and this is horrible for them. Dehaka is desperately trying to get the experience at the top lane, and will be always looking for an opportunity now to move in and take a target down, lock it into place for Breeze to slide in and hit that mosh pit.
Dahaka is frantically working on level 10 in the top lane. For those that are wondering why Dahaka's not here, they need level 10 to defend this push. Fnatic keeps pushing in. The Wailing Arrow comes out. It hits Malfurion. Malfurion being the one that can drop the roots there on Lucio potentially to get down some lockdown. The aggression continues. The Immortal is healthy. The core is taking damage.
Dahaka is back. Will be needed to move back here. They're going in. There's the root on the ground. Great silence from Malfurion. They have the level 10, but the counter kill against Greymane is there. That's most of the damage of playing Ducks gone. And the Immortal is doing work against the core itself. This is not looking pretty.
This is not looking pretty indeed. Chris was locked down by Breeze with a single mosh pit. Cleanse don't come out, but Chris didn't have a chance to step out. The cleanse was wasted. Sound barrier being popped. Nande burrows, hoping to live. Turn around from Schwimpy as it kills him. Dahaka has fallen. The playing Ducks are looking for the core 30%, 20%, maybe falling even more.
Fnatic goes in. The Immortal is down, but so is the core. This is game GG as Fnatic takes the 3-0 victory against the playing Ducks with a flawless performance today.
And it just begs the question, playing Ducks, they either show up and they play such great games back and forth, or they fall over like this. Now, the question is, they played against the big three. Dignitas shut them down hard. Fnatic shut them down hard. Team Liquid, though, did falter. Is Team Liquid having a hard time at the top of the entire leaderboards?
That's the big question now. Team Liquid themselves in the interview said that they feel they are currently struggling, and other teams have echoed that sentiment. So the playing Ducks losing hard against Dignitas and against Fnatic, who both play great games. And then Team Liquid having problems here. So is that an indication of the Ducks just being on fire when they were playing against Team Liquid, gaining finally their series and gaining some momentum themselves? Or is it more an indication of Team Liquid having a rough time? And I guess that's something we're going to find out once the Team Liquid plays in the next few games. But Fnatic looking strong here and making a statement saying we are coming for the top spot. We want to be #1 in the rankings right now. So Team Liquid, you better be careful.
Yep, Fnatic looking powerful. They're on a road here to maybe take that first spot. In fact, with that win, they will take the first spot until Team Liquid plays tomorrow against Synergy. Now, we will be hitting up Fnatic relatively soon here to ask them about the questions, but it's so amazing to see how coordinated this team can be when they feel like they are near each other, when they're on fire, when they're actually having the communication on point. It's great to watch that. Breeze today on his ETC, just stellar performance all around.
They definitely had an on day. If they are coordinated, if they communicate well, they always have great showings, and this was just going completely in their wheelhouse. The aggression early on, winning the early game, translating that into the late game, pushing with the objective. They did that on so many different maps now. The Sylvanas draft, that was already a statement where they said, hey, we have this, we can win this game, and if we win the early game, we're going to make it a short one.
Well, Schwimpy is here with us. Schwimpy, thank you for joining us. How are you?
Hello, very good. Feels good to win.
Awesome. Schwimpy, I want to talk about the meta. First off, congratulations on your win. But Greymane for you guys continues to move up and up in priority to the point that it seems like a lot of teams are actually moving towards Greymane and taking away from you. What are your thoughts about him and his strength?
I don't know. He's really good at either bursting the tank with the cursed bullet, or he can burst backline with go for the throw. Also, he has great poke. You know, he's overall a really good hero, and Quack is probably the best Greymane in Europe, so yeah, we just love it.
Well, let's talk about your placings now. You guys are on the heels of Team Liquid, one of the biggest teams in the HGC Europe, and you might have a chance of actually taking first place if they falter over the next 4 weeks. Are you guys thinking about that? Do you care about getting first place?
We really want to get first place, obviously. We don't want to be in the qualifier or whatever, qualification tournament for DreamHack. We want the first seed from Europe, yeah.
Awesome. Well, over to Caldor.
First of all, I have a question regarding the combos that you guys been playing. We saw a lot of focus on Arthur's plus ETC, which really made a solid frontline for you guys to an extent where at some point we even saw Arthur's banned out. That ETC play is something that really puts you apart from a lot of other teams that don't value him that highly anymore. Is that one of those things where it's just simply Breeze enjoying the hero so much and having these plays, exploiting opportunities, or what's the thought process behind it?
I mean, the ETC changes aren't in yet that you have in Hero League, so I think he's still in the same place kind of as he was in BlizzCon, which we obviously liked him at that time, so I don't see why anything would have changed.
When we're talking about DreamHack once again, of course, in Sweden, does that put extra pressure on you boys?
I don't know if extra pressure, but at one way we really want to go because it's in Sweden, it's our hometown. At the same time, you know, traveling is a lot of fun. It doesn't really make us travel a long way. So we want to be there so our family and friends can watch us. But I'm not sure if it's more pressure. I don't think so.
It's actually interesting to hear you're one of the first teams that says that they do want to travel. Most of the teams are more or less annoyed when they are dealing with jet lag. So yeah, but Sweden as the hometown, that must be quite a bit of fun. You guys have a chance. So first of all, congratulations, of course, again to the victory today. And we'll guess we'll find out tomorrow if Team Liquid can take down Synergy.
And if Team Liquid wins tomorrow, you guys have the chance to maybe knock them out next Saturday. Let's talk about that matchup. You guys getting excited? Do you think you can take them on?
Scrims have been pretty close, to be honest. We win 50-50. So it's going to be a tight match. It's going to be really tough, but I think we have what it takes. And I think if we get a meta that we like and actually have set strategies, I think we can take them pretty easily.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to it. Thank you so much for joining us, Schwimpy. Before I let you go, any major shout-outs?